My name is Minae. I am originally from Japan, now living in Helsinki. In Finland, total for 5 years now. And why did I come to Finland? My husband is American, not even Finnish, but he decided to take some higher education study in Finland. So that's how I came to Finland. I followed him. And then now he's on a PhD path, so another years in Finland determined. So now I started to get involved more in the society, trying to find my own place. And then slow food is one thing, and I also have a small business, trying to build a small business, which promotes home cooking, the food cooked from home. As a lot of immigrants brings their own food culture, but they have also faced the difficulty to find a workplace. So I'm trying to make a platform for their cooking to be presented and hopefully sold to generate some income for them. All in all, kind of connects to what I got inspired by slow food philosophy, and this is what I'm trying to present today. Okay, maybe this is a really good introduction. Is there a sound coming? Yeah.
Can we change the world through food? We believe we can. Slow food is a movement of people and communities united in their commitment to building a better world through food. A world that nourishes biodiversity, cares for the environment, and ensures social equity. Our world is in crisis. In a quest for never-ending growth and speed, we are devouring all that is left on planet Earth. This is the challenge that defines our age. But through food, which is central to many of these challenges, we can imagine a different future. A future in which everyone can enjoy food that is good for them, good for the people who grow it, and good for the planet. And to make this world a reality, we have to act together. This is the power of our network. We are a global network of local communities, of farmers, fishers, cooks, traders, educators, writers and activists from all over the planet. Together, we are defending cultural and biological diversity, educating and mobilizing people and communities, and influencing policies in public and private sectors. That is how we are collectively acting for a world of food that is good, clean, and fair for all. Join the movement.
Okay, so that's a really short wrap-up of what slow food is doing. As you saw in the video, food has a lot of connecting point to the program that we're facing today. And slow food is trying to approach to the program through food. 3 key things that's mentioned is good, clean, and fair. And so when we talk about good food in slow food context, the food that tastes good and gives us pleasure to eat it. When we talk about clean food, that is the way it's produced respects the environment, animal welfare, and our health. When we talk about fair food, it's that the food is at accessible prices for consumers and a fair condition and payment for small-scale producers. Those are the 3 things that you will get to see a lot when you visit anything about slow food. And also mentioned in the video, it's a global network. It's a really big international movement, but grassroots, so each unit is a small local, what's called convivium. And I'm from Helsinki convivium. We have a few more convivium in Finland, but I must say Finland has a very small operation still compared to other Nordic countries like Denmark or Sweden. And once in every 2 years, all these convivium people get together in Italy, which actually just happened last week in Trino, which is really close from where Slow Food headquarters is. It's a really amazing celebration of all kinds of food culture, lots of tasting workshop, lots of serious discussions, really crazy gathering of scholars and researchers and farmers, fishermen, all these indigenous groups. It's pretty amazing opportunity to find all these people who's working for the sustainable food system around the world. This is Carlo Petrini, who started the slow food movement. And pleasure is the word that he used in Slow Food Manifesto. I think this is a word that's not really commonly heard in the context of sustainability or environmental activism, but this is really an important concept, and I think this is what differentiates Slow Food from other movements. Here, I don't know if everyone can see, is his quote: "Any environmentalist who is not a gastronome is just sad." But actually the quote starts as, the quote starts with, "Any gastronome who is not an environmentalist is stupid." And then, "Any environmentalist who is not a gastronome is just sad." I think it's well said. He has lots of quotes that captures very well about food issues. I'm coming back to the pleasure part a little bit more, but before that, I'm going to quickly introduce what we do, our convenium in Helsinki does. We have a few urban gardening projects going on in Helsinki. One is called Arnalan Puutarha, which is a Arnala garden, translated into English. We own a few plots and in an allotment garden area. Helsinki has lots of allotment garden that citizens can rent and grow their own vegetables. It's one of those places, and we have a few plots, and we manage them all together. We invite a permaculture farmer to teach us how to make build soil with no-dig method. He also teaches us how to manage the works each season, because most of this allotment garden area is supposed to be organically run. So none of the users are allowed to use pesticides or herbicides, which is really good, but then you require to know a lot about soil building and growing vegetables. The other one, similar project, is called Suotava Puisto. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Suotava. It's translated as edible park, and it's actually a part of the youth project of Helsinki City, but we work as a partner to get the volunteers, and then we have a Saturday volunteer work to take care of the garden all together. The other one is a few years back, but we had an artist and environmentalist lady who ran a rooftop garden project. Just put a lot of big boxes on the top of a building and try to turn that rooftop into a gardening space. And we have captured a good picture and record of these projects, and we published a book, and that's a book in Swedish language. Here are a few pictures of each places. This is Arnala. Different seasons. We start when it's still cold, just as snow melts, we start building and preparing the soil. This is Suotava Puisto. There is a small community built around it because we meet on regular basis and work together with the house survey. This is the Rooftop Garden project and the book published. We also organize workshops and local food promotion. One favorite workshop we organize is a foraging. In springtime, we do the wild herbs and plants foraging and cooking, using that for natural dye and cosmetics, and so on. In autumn time, we do mushroom foraging. Sadly, this year in southern Finland or around Helsinki, there's no rain at all, and we had to cancel all the mushroom foraging workshops so far, and that's another climate concern I guess we have. In winter time, when it's dark and cold, we have lots of cooking workshops. I have organized one of my own, introducing some Japanese fermentation and cooking past 2 years. We work with, in collaboration with other people outside the organization to be an instructor and share their food knowledge with us. The last one is restaurant visits and farm visits, just to introduce people who's already doing sustainable restaurant and sustainable farming, just introduce them to our members. These are some more pictures, restaurant visits, there's me in the middle, and farm visits and the farmers market afterwards. And this year, this was something new we did together with Dodo, who's cooking behind you. Where this goes to today is the Slow Food initiative to raise awareness on the food waste issues. So in around the world, Slow Food Youth Network, younger generation group, gather to cook a big pot of soup with the expiring food. It's usually the end of April, but in Finland it's a little bit too cold still to run events outside, so we did a belated version in the end of May, and it was a great opportunity to kind of mix up our people and Dodo community all together. Right, so coming back to the pleasure parts. So pleasure and responsibility are not exclusive, they're not separated. In fact, it's essential that we bring them together, and this is how Slow Food thinks about pleasure. We all know that we have so many food-related issues. We are not going to feed all the people in the world. There are hunger and poverty issues. The use of land and chemical is not sustainable, as we all know. But what about the solutions that we have now? We are all going forward to revisit or, I don't know, discover something that we are not used to eat to be an edible food. We are trying to modify and hyper-process things that's not animal-based to be our protein source. We are trying to use the industrial and technological solutions to grow more food more efficiently. Sure, we all need these solutions, but on the other side, there are already small-scale farmers who is running the farming in the old traditional way, which has been sustainable. At least human being has sustained for a couple of 1,000 years, and that's how they have been running things. So instead of going all into like shiny, new, innovative solutions, which cost money, uses energy, need to build new things, what about revisiting the food knowledge that we already have? And there, we should find our pleasure, because that's how human being has been eating and enjoying food for thousands of years. So for example, from slow food pleasure perspective, can this be the solution? Just knowing what freshly harvested fruit is compared to fruits that's shipped around the world from the other side of the planet. Knowing how different it is, the organic vegetable is compared to chemically processed cut vegetable pack that never goes bad. Knowing the smell of chicken eggs from the big scale chicken farm versus free-range eggs. Knowing digestibility of different kinds of food. Like, for example, I started to have a little bit of digestion issues when I have a pancake that's made out of just flour. But if I eat the pancake made with the sourdough discard, I started to feel my gut can digest the breadcrumb more easily. What's the difference between those foods? What's the difference of taste between those foods? Which one is more pleasurable? Which one is more enjoyable for us and our body and senses? Focus on that and knowing what you have pleasure eating is really important aspect of knowing the difference between food that's produced differently. What about just knowing the difference and then find the producers who is producing food already in a sustainable way and put your resource and support into their practices? This is one of the examples. Okay, meat eating is becoming more and more guilty pleasure nowadays. But what about meat is coming from the farmer who is raising, whose pasturing method contributes to the preservation of traditional grassland landscape in Finland? What about this bread made from scratch with sourdough, with the flour that's sourced from local mills? What about having pickles inside that's from the garden of your own and slow fermented? Is it still a guilty burger? I think this can be a pleasurable but sustainable food solution. What about we exchange food culture and tradition and knowledge together? I started to see some Nordic chefs are really into learning Japanese fermentation techniques and started to see how we use seaweed in Japan, started to look around and see what kind of seaweed is edible around in Nordic countries. Exchanging food culture can open a new potential for edible food in a much more pleasurable way than processing insects or processing beans into something that you know as a food, like Beyond Burger. Why would I have to make beans into a burger? Burger's supposed to be meat, no? Anyway, exchange of food culture is encouraging each other to expand the horizon of what can be eaten sustainably without having too much industrial processing. It's very basic. It's just meeting people and talk about food, maybe cooking together. So can that also be a solution? These are what Slow Food is trying to do. Instead of coming up with a new, shiny, innovative, big picture solution, we try to focus on our senses, pleasure, and interaction of people. So I'm just going to read this out. This is in the Slow Food Manifesto, written in 1989 when Slow Food started. Our century, which began and has developed under the insignia of industrial civilization, first invented the machine and then took it as life model. We are enslaved by speed and have all succumbed to the same insidious virus, fast life, which disrupts our habits, pervades the privacy of our homes, and forces us to eat fast food. To be worthy of the name, Homo sapiens should rid themselves of speed before it reduces them to a species in danger of extinction. A firm defense of quiet material pleasure is the only way to oppose the universal folly of the fast life. May suitable doses of guaranteed sensual pleasure and slow, long-lasting enjoyment preserve us from the contagion of the multitude who mistake frenzy for efficiency. This is in the Slow Food Manifesto, and if you want to read the whole thing, I can share the slides with the link inside it. It's quite simple, but touches to us to kind of be back to human and feel the world and sense the world. And that's why I think slow food movement is accessible for anyone and easy to join and be a part as a human being. Thank you very much, and it's really nice to be here.